man that started it all.
Wait, are you the Yes Chef guy?
Todd started this place 28 years ago with one goal in mind: making the best chicken fingers in the world. We got their famous box combo, chicken fingers, crinkle cut fries, Texas toast slaw, and their world famous cane sauce. Could shed a tear right now.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Make plans to join 93.7 The Ticket and the Amon Green Foundation for the first annual Nebraska Esports Golf Tournament on Monday, June 9th at Wilderness Ridge. It's a four-man scramble starting at 11 a.m. that will feature former Husker greats, including Amon Green, Johnny Rogers, Niles Paul, Tony Davis, Adam Carricker, Vershawn Jackson, and more, with great prizes and great golf. Sponsorships are also available. Email Jake at theticketfm.com for more questions or sign your team up online at theticketfm.com. Early bird registration goes through April 20th, and overall registration goes through May 30th.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, this is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome in. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington? Got the host as always streaming in. You guys can always join in 402-464-5685. Chance Brewington, how's it going on what has been a beautiful Monday, at least here in Lincoln, Nebraska?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing great. You must be doing it. Looks like you got a new house and everything back there, so it looks like you're living it up. But plenty of things to talk about. We got Husker football, some changes to it, not necessarily just the 7-on-7 scrimmage anymore. They're going to be bringing, looks like the guys that are going to be having to look for new homes to guys that are on the fringe of that 105 to be able to compete for some spots. NBA playoffs, your Lakers. Ouch. Both got, got a full series, but hey, I will say this much: you could be the Memphis Grizzlies. They lost by 51, so there's that. Your beatdown wasn't nearly that bad, but the floor is yours. The host as always.
No, yeah, we got a lot to talk about, we talked about the Warriors. I mean, they starting off with a win over Rockets, I believe, right? So I mean, we can start off. I want to hit the 105. I think there's a lot of stuff there. Rule alluded to it, I think a week ago. Nebraska actually posted a video that they wanted to, get some live content for the boys. Going live in the scrimmage. Live simply just means tackling to the ground. And that's not something you usually do, all the time, especially I'm assuming in this setting, it's going to be way more relaxed than a regular spring game. So to go live in this scenario is really it's like a bone to the guys, man, because you allow them to showcase and be able to have something to take to the next program, and that's I think that's gold right there. And then it also, like, in the future, I'm sure spring games won't be the same anymore. So you kind of also like lay a format for what's to come, but you also do the right thing by sending out the guys the right way, by giving them an opportunity to also fight to stay on the team, but also for the guys that know, like, I never play at Nebraska, probably never will. They get an opportunity to go play somewhere else. And it's definitely not the end of the world. I think people also have to understand that coming from like a Power 5 or Power 4 now, Big Ten team like Nebraska, obviously it'd be, different if you're coming from a LSU or Ole Miss, just kind of I think Nebraska is a high tier program, but I think there's a difference between high tier and, this is tough to say, but like a currently winning program, right? So it's a little different.
We're not Ohio State right now.
Exactly. I don't want no one to I want to catch no errors from someone, but so I think it's different, and I think they have that in their back pocket because it's different than coming from a school that just doesn't have that like grind culture to it. So you have a little bit of cushion there, but it'll be interesting to see. And I think you're sending them out the right way, so it's honorable on Rule's part and the coaching staff.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like, I've been a little bit surprised too. I get why some people have been upset by the way that the spring game isn't happening anymore. And, fine. I think it's fair to feel that way if you really love the spring game. But at least, even if you disagree with it, you can see that Matt Rule is doing everything what feels like he can to make sure that those guys that aren't going to get that opportunity with this 105, like he's finding ways to appease the fan base, but also give his guys some tape. So, I mean, he's really trying harder, I feel, to make everyone win at least a little bit. And like you said, for some of those guys, might be their last time playing in that stadium, might be their last time just having any sort of tape on them that means something against some decent competition. So it's a little chance for that as well. And, just an opportunity, one last opportunity to take a crack at it and see if you can catch the eyes of the coaches. So there's just a lot to it. And I think it's awesome. The other thing I think is really cool, Will Compton, coach of the Stars, our guy, Jay Foreman, will be coaching the Legends.
Come on.
So you already know which side I'm going to be rooting for. I got to go for Jay Foreman, but really cool. You bring Will Compton back in the mix. And obviously Jay Foreman, he's been in the Husker Legend, NFL guy, just like Will Compton. He was an NFL guy as well. But, they both go on to have pretty significant media careers, and now they're both coaches. So I'd like that too. You get two of those guys in there. But just thoughts on that. Reaching out to Will Compton and Jay Foreman as the coaches. Again, Foreman coaching the Legends, Compton coaching the Stars.
I think that's it's honorable. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's also like fun, on that aspect too. It's fun and it's it gets the guys going and it meshes that connection between young and old. And not saying the guys are old, but just former players and new players. Like that's a bridge that needs to stay up for the longevity of college football, because there's so much you can learn from the past, and there's so much that the past can learn from the new. And like, that bridge just needs to be there. And there needs to be a mentorship between, former guys and younger guys, because you never know what nugget can take a player's game to the next level. Like, and that's vital. And we've seen that from time and time again. So I think it's awesome. I think that's a good format, for the future, like bringing, maybe Nadam Kinsu and Amir Abdullah do one, or, you bring in, Johnny Rogers and I don't know, Steve Taylor, bring in, like you can bring in a bunch of people. So it sets up good format. And I think, especially for, those guys that, obviously Jay Foreman, the ticket, been doing media for a while, well known, has built up his portfolio. And then, Will Compton, Bust with the Boys, Barstool, like it's like two, I would say, media personalities, being able to also do the X's and O's. And I'm sure it's going to be more lackadaisical, but I still believe,
I think it's going to be pretty chippy.
Right. and so like I also factor in Jay's personality and like
Will
personality.
Compton's personality. Think of
Yeah,
Will.
so but I see like the playful, and then I also see it like it could get super serious because it's not like them going in like 7-on-7 for like a travel team. Like this, they used to play there. There's a pride there. We're talking like a 90s guy and a early mid 2000s. Like those are, so it would be awesome. I overall I think it's awesome, and I think you pay homage really to the 90s by doing that. It's not it's Jay, and then also paying homage to the 90s, and then you also kind of pay homage to like Will and all he's done post football career, and I think that's big for Nebraska.
Well, and to your point, like, I bet you there's a lot of young guys that got tired of hearing it, back in the day. And I'm sure there's a lot of old guys that got tired of seeing it. Like, come on already. Just do it. We don't like hearing this either. You just put them both on the field. Everyone loves University of Nebraska at the end of the day. And again, when you get Will Compton, Jay Foreman, I think those guys, temperament-wise, they're both easily get fired up. And I feel like they both like to talk a little bit. So I'm excited. I do think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be all that relaxed, because I think a lot of these guys are going to be trying to make a name for themselves or get some good tape, or, just go out there for one last, great scrimmage run before you do try to find that next landing spot. Or for some of these guys, they might just decide to hang it up after this, because this is the end of the school year as well. So I think it's a really cool idea. But there is going to be a lot of extra stuff in between it, so that will take some of the steam off, I think. Curious what you think about those. Have you been invited at all to participate in it, Brewington?
I think so.
Okay. I only know of a few guys right now, and I think they're still kind of piecing it together. First year of this, I'm curious to see how it all turns out. But it is good that they're trying something else. Thoughts on just everything in between though as well. Let me pull it up here. But real quick, I should start. You're going to have a 7-on-7 women's flag football game beforehand.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's Midland versus the UNL All-Stars.
That's fun. That's super fun. I think that's like it's obviously like inclusive, but it's also, I think it gives like the guy, I think it takes pressure off of this. I think it takes pressure off the spring game, because I think the spring game has slowly, because like when I was first coming into college, spring game was like kind of important. Like you kind of 1s and 2s get like real good reps for about 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 drives. And then it kind of goes to, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, all that good stuff. But I think bringing the women, it kind of takes the edge off a little bit. But then you're going to have to turn it back on because you're going live. So it'll be interesting to see like how serious it gets, like you're talking about.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'll be honest, like flag football outside of what's his name? He took the media by storm, basically saying he was better than all these NFL guys. He was a really good athlete at flag football, but I haven't actually seen it live. And I know in the women's area in particular, it seems to be growing a lot. So you'll have that. It's just an hour game. That's before the 2 p.m. kickoff. But in this game, I mean, you got the big red kickoff specialist competitions before kickoff. Then you scrimmage, strongest man competition, scrimmage, quarterback shootout, halftime, John Cook roping roundup. That'll be a hoot. Scrimmage third quarter, Husker hands, agility, skills showdown, a media challenge, scrimmage fourth quarter, fastest man, and then a wing eating contest. Nothing like a good full game of football and a bunch of wings in a hurry to finish it off. I actually don't know who's involved in that wing eating contest, so maybe that's just not the case. But that's the layout of it. There's a lot of things going on. Maybe my only concern with all these competitions in between. But I mean, they're trying a lot. I'll give them credit for it. Thoughts on just all the extra stuff in between, even though I know we don't have a ton of details on what these things even mean yet.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's fun. I think it would be interesting to hear the fan response. Because I think it's from what I feel, and obviously you're a local, so you could probably pitch in on this. Is I always felt that like Nebraska was like, I want to see I formation, run the football. Like I want to see people hit each other. So I'll be interested to hear the response of what they feel from this. I think it will be fun. I think the fans will love it.
Some people are still really upset, which surprises me.
Right. And I expect that a little bit from some people, of course. You can't please everyone. But I think the way college football is going, you start bringing money involved. You start paying people close to $1 million, and they can't get hurt anymore. Like, they just can't. And
they can't walk out your door either. You just gave that guy a bunch of money, and he walks out the door.
Are you talking about Nico?
Just anybody. I mean, Nico set the precedent for it, right?
Yeah. Well,
you might have a contract obligation, but it's also like you're investing in these guys, and it's just a lot different. They're now investments, big time investments. Right. So you're a little more careful with it. Doesn't make everything right, but it is an investment now.
Yeah, it's an investment, and it's almost like, I mean, you're probably going to see this, like you're probably going to see upgrades throughout nutrition, upgrades throughout not Nebraska, because I think they're way ahead of the game, but just college football in general, upgrades in nutrition and physical training and massages and just making sure like the player has everything he needs if they didn't already. Most places, I mean, top 7 schools at each conference pretty much have everything. You go to LSU, USC, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, I mean, UCLA even, they have pretty much everything they need, right? But like some of the smaller schools maybe don't have all the resources. But I think as you're investing more players, I think it's going to be smart on the boosters or whoever does the financial logistics is, going to have to see it fit that you invest, not only in, the facilities and stuff, but like focusing on the player specifically. But it kind of just goes to your point that players are investments now.
That's why you got to have Patrick Stewart, who's got that NFL GM experience.
Right.
So, it's different. It's a different league, and I don't, I'm not bewildered by why some people don't like it. Nobody likes change, including me. But I'm willing to see what Matt Rule and like what all other coaches are seeing. And the cherry on top for all this is like, you get a bunch of other good things out of it. It does suck. The spring game was iconic, but now you get there's scrimmage in Kansas as well. Volleyball is that night, 6:30 at the Devaney. You can go watch soccer. They're having a scrimmage. You're getting the Hawks.
Oh, that would be fun.
You get the yard sale. You can go buy a bunch of Husker equipment that never hits the shelves, and you always, wonder, where did Coach Manning get that awesome wrestling hoodie? Well, now you get an opportunity to go to that indoor Hawks field and see what they got, and see if you can go find that hoodie, maybe even a helmet. Depending on how much money you got, I'm sure some of that stuff's going to be expensive, but it's just cool that it's available. A lot of that stuff's been unavailable forever, and they're just trying a bunch of different things to appease the fan base, which is a lot better than what a lot of people do, which is have the money. We don't necessarily need to listen to you because you guys are going to show up on Saturday no matter what we do for the spring game.
Yeah, so and I think I agree with that, and I think honoring the fans, especially like during these past, 10, 12, 15, 20 years, like just being able to honor, well, I would say probably about 15 or probably about 12, but like those past years, being able to honor them and say like we are thankful for you. And, a historic thing that we've been able to keep has been because of you guys, and only because of you guys, and not because of us. Like, it's not because of
a good point,
it's not because of the football team, the players, the coach. It was not because of any of that. I mean, I'm talking about specifically the sellout. Like the only reason why that was able to happen is because of the fans. Like, there's no other, 3-9, 4-6, 4-7, 4-8, 6-5-7, 6-6. Like, that's not warranted for sellouts, right? And it also, I'm passionate about this because throughout that whole time, it gave the player an incredible experience, and it wasn't really deserving. Let's be honest. I'm just speaking from my point of view. Going 3-9, I don't know if you deserve sellouts every game. And then the following year, we go and lose in Ireland, and then we come back to North Dakota, and it's like, it's like we just went and played Bama. Like, it's just like, then the next year being amped up for Rule and still showing out for him, and then that year not going the way it was supposed to go, or I guess everything goes the way it's supposed to go, but what was anticipated. Then the next year, the ups and downs of that year, of course, there were, some boos here and this, but I think the fact that you're able to do something for the fans, something. And I hope that they're getting fans involved within like the 7-on-7 stuff. That'd be fun. Like, and doing some stuff with fans. So that's good to hear about the being able to purchase stuff, and hopefully it's more intimate, and like maybe some former players are there and stuff like that. That'll be cool.
Well, I mean, this is the best part. And I'll play this quote because this is kind of where Matt Rule, and again, we will find out how true this is, but what fixes everything for fans is we can get wrapped up in the spring game. We can get wrapped up in you didn't recruit this player who got offered by Hawkeyes first. We can get wrapped up in why didn't we go over here? We can get why didn't you hire this OC or fire this guy at this point in time? We can get wrapped up in everything, but at the end of the day, if that program was winning, nobody asked any of those questions. They are just not a conversation at all. You only start to worry about all this insignificant detail. And sure, some of it may be significant, but what ends up happening is you get so caught up in the insignificant details that winning becomes damn near impossible. So here's Matt Rule, just kind of on like his philosophy of that. I have one job at Nebraska, which is winning. Here's Matt Rule.
I have one job, is to win at Nebraska. Okay. Anytime a coach here has tried to do anything else but win at Nebraska, they've been asked to leave. And I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. Like, no man can serve two masters. We have to win. Everyone cares about everything else when you're not winning. When you win, and Tommy Frazier was from where? Okay, I'm saying like that no one cares. You know what I'm saying?
Real quick, pause that. Just hilarious because he asked that question, and of course, the Nebraska, everyone in there, he gets the answer right away.
Yeah. Like so, and I'd say that like I want to mine the state. I think there's good players in the state. Okay, but like if a player's a really good player and doesn't quite fit us, and he's going to go somewhere else, I want him to go be happy. I care about football in the state. That's why we're open. Every practice is open to the high school coaches in the state. That's why our camps are not just select invitational camps. That's why we do youth camps. That's why we do free youth camps. That's why we go speak at clinics. That's why our coaches clinic had 500 people here just for us. We are going to pour into the state in football. But what I have found is if you bring a player here from the state and they're not happy, the place that they love now becomes a miserable thing. So I have to be sure that they're good enough. And what's happening sometimes here is some of the other schools that aren't playing in the Big Ten, they're going to offer them as a sophomore. And then everyone looks at me like, well, why haven't you offered him yet? It used to be you got offered as a senior, And I like guys, if I'm not quite sure yet, don't I owe it to you to be sure before I offer you a scholarship? And now before I offer you a rev share deal. So I don't think there's anything wrong at the University of Nebraska that we carry ourselves like the top 20 teams in the program in the country. And the top 20 teams in the country, if they say, hey, we like you a lot, but we want you to come to camp, you'll come to camp, going into your senior year. So there's lots of kids. I would love to recruit them. They've committed to a Big 12 school or somewhere else like that. Come to camp. If you want to play in the Big 12 over the Big 10, I got it. But make no mistake, there is a big difference. And Big 12 is going to go nuts now. I know that. And I'm going to be on X and all that stuff. But it's the reality. The Big 10 and the SEC, especially moving forward, are going to be here in terms of everybody else. So I have to worry about what's Ohio State doing, what's Michigan doing. So I love the state. I love the players. And we're gonna take a bunch. So we've taken some as walk-ons. We've taken some as scholarship players. I just have to be sure that they're good enough. And I don't think asking guys to come to camp the whole thing like, hey, you should be the first offer at Nebraska. Desperate teams always set the market. Let me say that one more time. And rev share and all this, desperate teams set the market. So if they know that, hey, straight up, we can't beat a Big 10 team or we can't beat Nebraska, then we better offer them a year earlier and say Nebraska doesn't care about you. We care about you. We just we got to make sure that you're going to help us beat Ohio State. That's my job, is to be really focused on, serving that one master, which is college football playoff, Big 10 championships, national championships. That's all anybody wants. So I better do that. If you're not doing that, then people say why. But and I think we're taking the right players from the state, and I think football in the state's really good. So you're going to see lots of guys sign scholarships.
Long answer, but I think a really wise one. Bruce, just your thoughts on. You might have seen it before, but I don't think
I
you've
haven't
on air yet.
I haven't. That was a lot to unpack. I'll start with
And you can set the table too, as we are up to our first break.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this, and I'll set it up. But the one I want to hit on first is the acknowledgement and the transparency with the statement of, if they're good enough, I'll offer them. And I think that's a winning mindset, and I think that might be offensive to people. But I think, there's great talent in the state, but you want great talent, not good talent. Right. You want great talent. So we'll talk about it on the next break.
Absolutely. Well, as you said, right. We'll get into it. Competition, you can't be thinking your competition's Minnesota. You got to be thinking, and that's not slander against those teams. They beat us plenty. But if you're really trying to catch up to the Ohio States, the Oregons, the Georgias, you can't just be giving everyone in your state a scholarship. Maybe,
right.
When the 105 wasn't a limit, you can get a bunch of walk-ons, but yeah, you're right. Things have changed now, especially with that roster limit. And I agree with him when he says, you can't be a master to two things. You got to pick a side. So we'll talk about that plenty more on the other side. A lot more Husker football. Don't go anywhere. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington? Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Talk to you in a bit.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
At Allo, we go beyond internet, bringing you faster speeds backed by an all-fiber network. We go beyond TV and phone service, delivering reliable, crystal clear connections. We go beyond customer service with local teammates and no robots for a hassle-free experience. We go beyond value, offering transparent prices with no contracts, hidden fees, or data caps. We even go beyond our office doors by working, hiring, volunteering, and living in the communities we serve. Go beyond fiber. Sign up today at allofiber.com.
Make plans to join 93.7 The Ticket and the Amon Green Foundation for the first annual Nebraska Esports Golf Tournament on Monday, June 9th at Wilderness Ridge. It's a four-man scramble starting at 11 a.m. that will feature former Husker greats, including Amon Green, Johnny Rogers, Niles Paul, Tony Davis, Adam Carricker, Vershawn Jackson, and more, with great prizes and great golf. Sponsorships are also available. Email Jake at theticketfm.com for more questions or sign your team up online at theticketfm.com. Early bird registration goes through April 20th, and overall registration goes through May 30th.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Cinco de Mayo is May 5th, but the party starts early this year at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina with their street festival on Saturday, May 3rd. Come down to 8th and Q starting at 1 p.m. on May 3rd and see llamas from Sweet and Sassy's Llama Farm until 4 p.m. and enjoy face painting and balloon animals with Miss Shades at 2 p.m. DJ Wyatt will entertain from 6 to 10:30 p.m. There will be drinks, food, and giveaways. And best of all, no cover charge. It's the early Cinco de Mayo Street Festival with Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, Saturday, May 3rd, beginning at 1 p.m. at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Early break wrap. What do you have? Oh yeah. When someone orders a wrap, I want to go come across the table.
No wrap.
What do you guys have? What's your best wrap?
No.
What's your
so
wrap? Was that buffalo chicken? That's incredible. Yeah. When you say I want to get, I'm going to South Florida. They have great wraps. I want to throw a punch.
Here's one too that I encountered
with Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. Segment number 2. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington? Got the host, as always, streaming in, and we got an absolute, I don't say mouthful, I should say paragraph worth of wisdom from Matt Rowland, at least in terms of his philosophy, especially with the limits of the 105 roster. And we're not going to play the clip because it's about like 3 minutes long in its entirety, but essentially a lot of statements on you can't necessarily send a scholarship to every kid within your borders now because you're dealing with that limit, and also with NIL, quote, desperate teams set the market. You also got to worry about that. Now it's not longer you're just giving out scholarships. There's also NIL attached with it. So I'll let you just kind of answer it on what you thought about what was that about 3-minute audio quote and his philosophy on kind of how he wants to become a winning program.
Yeah, I think the first thing I take away is like you don't settle. You know, you're not settling for the in-state talent that's pretty, easier to get. And this is and I have to preface this by saying this is no disrespect to in-state Nebraska or in-state in general, right? On a statewide scale. But I think it's super important to examine where you're at. Like hit the ground, boots on ground. Like we need to find the best players in the state. And I think last year you brought in some good players. You brought in Carter Nelson.
Yeah, there's always going to be some. For sure.
Yeah. So I'm not discrediting them. I mean, Garrett Nelson. I played with some Austin Allen. I played with some good ones. Borkature. Like there's been some.
I mean, that's Hartington, Nebraska. That's my hometown, and he went to the Super Bowl, won a ring with Tom Brady. A couple of them, I think, even had 9 years. So you're gonna find good athletes. He's not saying we never need to touch these recruiting.
Right. And I think the next step is identifying. And I think I heard that was identifying what won in the past. And so that was the question of who was it, Johnny Rogers or was it Johnny Rogers?
I'm sorry, what are you referencing here?
When he asked where did such and such go to school?
Oh yeah, I think it was Rogers.
Where is he from?
Yeah.
So and for people that didn't hear the
was Frazier or Johnny the Jet Rogers?
I think it was Frazier. It's where's Frazier from? And I'm guessing Frazier is not from Nebraska. I'm guessing he's from somewhere in the South or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think the point he was trying to make is the model in the past was you get out-of-state players, you get the best players in state, you bring those together, you form a team, and obviously you win, right? And so I think that's cool. You follow a framework, and then I think if you go now to modern day, who's winning? You go to the Oregons, you go to the Michigans, Michigan last year, Ohio State, my bad. And, you go to those type of schools and you see where are these guys from? I mean, you're not going to find a whole bunch of guys from Columbus, Ohio, on the Ohio State team, right? They're going to be from Cali, the South, the East, the West, wherever it is, North, whatever. Same with Oregon, same with Alabama from their whole tenure of the past 10 years, right? And so that model has been consistent, right? And so I think he's seeing that, and I think that's a flaw maybe Nebraska's had in the past 10 years is saying we can win with what's in state. And I don't mean that negatively. I do just mean that that's limiting your options, and just by natural selection, you're just going to have less options, and your chances, the probability of winning is just going to go down. And you can't debate that, right? And so, and if you broaden it and you say, we're going to hit the South a little bit more this year, or we're going to hit the, an in-house discussion, like me and you are coaches, and you recruit the South and I recruit the, Southeast, whatever. And we come to the table and say, Coach Rule, we have XYZ, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. We need to hit this more. And so if these players are better than the people in the state, it makes sense, right? And so I think it's cool. And then the next point he hit was he talked about offering guys later when he's indecisive on where they are on their football journey, I guess, because you don't really know sometimes as a sophomore who he's going to turn into, because people, especially in Nebraska and smaller states where, Nebraska football just isn't like Georgia, or it isn't like Alabama, or it isn't like Florida, it isn't like I would say Arizona too, Cali, Nevada. So like, it's just not like those places competitive wise, because you don't have like the tiers in other places.
We don't have the numbers.
Take
the city of Chicago, and then take, or the city in Alabama, and then take, any of the small towns. I mean, they're just numbers wise, it makes total sense that you're not going to have as many athletes.
Yeah. And so the tiers in other states, it's like your 3As school wise, right, are comparative to, I guess it's 1As here or 2As here.
You
right?
just have Class A, Class B, and it doesn't start splitting up until you get to C, and then you get C1, C2, D1, D2.
Okay, exactly. So it's just different. And so I think that's smart. And I think that's a smart way to evaluate in-state talent is we have to see you first. And and then the next thing he hit on was comparing Big 10 to Big 12. And I think that's interesting. And I don't know when this came out, but I'm sure he caught a little bit of flack for that. But I think that's true. He said this 2 years ago a year ago at the podium about, the Big Ten is going to have 4 teams in the college football playoffs, had 4 teams in the college football playoffs. So I think the Big 12 is a good conference, but I think the way you add in USC, and USC is just going to only get better. UCLA is only going to get better. Oregon is going to get better. Or you don't think so?
Did you hear about the UCLA news?
No, what happened?
Nico Iamaleava is a UCLA Bruin.
It's official. It's official. Okay, it's official.
Well, there's more breaking news with UCLA. Did you hear about today? It was maybe 2 hours ago.
Is it under investigation or something?
No, there was another transfer to UCLA, and his last name is also Iamaleava, except his first name is Madden, and he's coming from Arkansas. Both brothers are now UCLA Bruins. Madden was a Bruin, left, now is coming back once again, which I don't fully understand because he's going to be behind his brother, and I think
he's a quarterback.
Yeah, they're both quarterbacks. So I don't get that one at all, unless he's just super homesick. I think they're LA kids, but bizarre. I didn't see that coming.
That's
like
interesting.
A bad move for Madden, just to be honest.
That one doesn't exactly make sense, but it goes to the point that if UCLA can turn some things in the right direction, they're going to be a really hot. They're going to be a hot spot. Yep. They're going to be a hot spot. They can get some money when they start winning. Like they're going to be able to pay players moving forward. So I think that comparative, like the potential of the Big 12 and the potential of the Big 10, put those two together. Like Michigan was bad this year. Like, or above.
And they were 8-5 was bad.
above average, right? And so and UCLA was not very good, and you never know within the Big Ten where the Marylands, the Northwesterns, the Rutgers, like these strange schools that just have the Michigan States where they have like these spikes in years or Wisconsin as well. So you have too much muscle in the Big Ten. And I think that comparative is right. And then finally, man, just the commitment to winning in that quote, like just literally saying we're committed to winning. And he even said, I don't know the context in which he said this or in which he meant this, because it was kind of at the beginning. I don't know what was said before, but he he did say, I might butcher a couple of words, but he did say that coaches who were not committed to winning are no longer coaching here.
Yeah,
and so you can read into that however much you want, but I think that if the main goal is the main goal, it's kind of a cutthroat business, and if you're not good enough, you're not good enough, and that goes for out of state, in state. I don't care where you come from.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's like if you're not committed to winning, everyone's like, yeah, of course. It's like, what does that mean? It means you can't just chase every single trail, even if it's going to lead to some hard decisions and it's going to piss some people off. That's winning. You got to know which trails to take, even if other people are going to be upset by it. So, I think I'm intrigued. I think it's the right move. It's not fun that the walk-on program has to suffer, and that's not his fault. That's the unfortunate ruling of the NCAA. But, it seems like the University of Nebraska, at least right now, is doing everything it can to use what is the chaos around it to get ahead. And that's all you're asking for is like, can you somehow create any advantage through this chaos? And Matt Rule, even though it's not really creating advantage, it's at least trying to figure out, what do they need to do right off the rip with this new limit to ensure that they're successful. It means you maybe can't chase the same guys that you always used to, or at least not as many. So that, like, of course, if there's a Carter Nelson, if there's a Russ Hookstein, or any of the guys that you mentioned, you're going to go and find them and check them out. And they might be good enough, and you're going to offer them right then and there. But to your point, just use your head per capita. Yeah, maybe have a crazy year. There's just not going to be as much talent in this state. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time elsewhere. But of course, you're going to keep tabs on the good players that are within this state. And you mentioned it with the Big Ten. The Big Ten is going to be nuts. Penn State.
Just give it some time, too.
Well, I talked about this with the morning. Penn State's pretty much just loading everyone back, right? Oregon, yeah, they lost to Ohio State, but they were a dominant, undefeated all regular season. Kurt Signetti, whatever you think about him, the guy wins everywhere.
Forgot about them.
They were in the college football playoffs. They made it before Nebraska did, which is just insane. And then whatever you think of Brett Bielema in Illinois, last year they won 10 games. They were 10-3. Iowa, again, whatever you think about them, they're good. Michigan, it was a down year. They were 8-5. And if Underwood, if you haven't seen him, that dude can throw it. He's going to be, he might be a little bit up and down as he's young, but once he figures it out, Michigan's got a really great quarterback, and they bodied Alabama at the end of the year. Obviously, Ohio State just won the championship, and you think Nebraska's good. And of course, UCLA, we just talked about them. They got Nico Iamaleava now. So these teams are all just kind of hitting in sync in the Big Ten. And you never know, like to your point, Northwestern might have a good year. Maryland, one of these teams is going to surprise you. But this is all to point out why Matt Rule, and I think he's right, not to be messing around too much. Like, you're going to have to figure out how to really nail this, because the Big Ten just looks like a loaded conference right now, and it only looks like it's going to get better.
Yeah, it's going to get better, and you didn't even mention Wisconsin, and I think they're due to figure something out eventually.
See, they scare. You like Luke Fickell in the extension they gave him, despite what was a non-bowling season?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the Luke Fickell problem. I think it's just a quarterback. I think you just need a consistent quarterback play with a decent defense, quarterback and a decent defense, and they kind of had the decent defense 2 years ago.
Iowa dropped 40 on him. We dropped 40 on him
2 years ago. So not this past year, but the year before, they were pretty good. And so you kind of had, and I remember talking to their linebacker in media day, and it was like, it was like he was like, yeah, we're coming off of a good year, we're hoping to be this, and it just never. It started off bad, right, with the Bama game, right, and so it just they I feel like they never caught their footing last year. But I don't know if it's a Luke Fickell thing, and I think another one is like Michigan State. Like if Michigan State can catch some magic, because it's like, and I don't know. I feel as if it's going to change a little bit too with the structure of college football, where the Kenneth Walker situation in 2021. He's like up for the Heisman and all this stuff. I don't know if a Kenneth Walker goes to Michigan State anymore.
Good point. Yeah. Boy, I kind of forgot too. I'm looking back at this Wisconsin, and you are right to say they're not as bad as maybe people expect, because they had a gauntlet last year. I mean, to your point, 3 games in, they got Bama. Then you get USC on the road. The first time you're really out there in USC, that's a long road trip. Then they get some bounce back games, right? You get Purdue, you get Rutgers, you get Northwestern, 1, 2, 3 wins. Then you draw number 3 Penn State. Then you draw Iowa. And whatever you say about Iowa, it's a tough place to play on the road. And they drop that one. Then they get number 1 Oregon. You go from Penn State, Iowa, Oregon, Alabama, USC. And then, of course, they got us. They got us at the worst time possible. I mean, we were playing hot. Dana Holgerson was there. The confidence was finally clicking. And then they got Minnesota at the end there. And I think they were just so beat down at that point. There wasn't any sort of good feelings left within that locker room. They were coming off 5 straight losses. So they're going to be an interesting team. Give me the win-loss total, that the over-under that you would give for this team before we go to break, because it's a tough read.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with their schedule, but I think just potential.
The toughest games. I'll real quick give you what the toughest games are going to be. Oh man, they get Bama again this year.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, right. And it's at Alabama this year. They get at Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Illinois.
Gosh. Oh, Harrison. I remember vividly we did their preseason ranking, and we went through this. I remember this. We went through it last year, and it was like, God, that's a gauntlet. So I'm gonna say if they go bowling this upcoming year, they get 7 wins. If they get over 8 wins, I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's a successful year. Do you see a way they get it?
I'm trying. Okay, so we'll go a little bit over. It's fine. I'll hurry through it. Miami, Ohio. So 1-0. Middle Tennessee, 2-0. Bama, no shot. At home, Maryland.
Yeah, I'd give it to them.
Okay, so they got 3. They just need 3 more. On the road, Michigan.
No.
At home versus Iowa.
No.
At home versus Ohio State.
No.
On the road versus Oregon.
No.
At home versus Washington.
You could steal that one. Washington looked. Washington. We didn't even talk about them. They have possibility, but keep going.
Yeah, and then at Indiana.
No, I don't see that happening.
At home versus Illinois.
No, they have too many guys coming back.
On the road versus Minnesota, and they took a beat down last year too.
Minnesota is still they could get some things right. Like they're close.
So either way, that's 5. That's 5 50-50s. Well, I shouldn't say that. Miami, Ohio, we feel good about. Middle Tennessee, we feel good about. Everything else you subtract, that's 3 50-50 games. We only feel good about 2 wins. And that's not because Luke Fickell in Wisconsin sucks. That's just a really tough schedule. I'll be curious if they can get through this season with 6 wins. That's a hell of an achievement for this program, and I think that says a lot about going in the right direction. With that being said, we'll throw it to break here. Don't go anywhere. One more segment. We'll talk some more college football, or maybe even some NBA. We'll figure it out on the other side. Don't go anywhere. What's brewing? Chancellor Brewington.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
In today's digital world, technology works great until it doesn't. At Hamilton, we work to keep your business up and running. We are more than an IT company. We're your partner, focused on customized solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Say goodbye to tech stress and unexpected IT costs when you hire Hamilton. Together, we help you focus on what really matters. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Staying healthy and comfortable starts with the air you breathe. If you're noticing more dust, odors, or allergies, it could be time for duct cleaning from Bryant. Pure Air starts with cleaner air ducts. Pair with enhanced filtration and purifications options, and the difference is amazing. When the air you breathe is clean and fresh, your home smells fresher, and your family is healthier. Time for cleaner air in your home? Call Bryant for a free estimate. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Early break wrap. What do you have? Oh yeah. Someone orders a wrap. I want to go come across the table.
No wrap.
What do you guys have? What's your best wrap?
No.
What's your
so aggressive?
Was that buffalo chicken? That's incredible. Yeah. When you say I want to get, I'm going to stop where they have great wraps. I want to throw a punch.
Here's one too that I encountered
with Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Reynolds on the ones and twos. Chancellor Brewington on the other side. Once again, I want to shout out our sponsor for the show and much of Ticket Weeknight. Shout out to Lincoln Teammates. You guys can sign up, become a teammate today. Go to lincolnteammates.org. Been around, started by Osborne, filled with great people, great stuff. All they want to do is help out, make more mentors out there. So again, if you're curious, you can go to lincolnteammates.org. And if you don't have the time, there are other ways to help out that great cause. With that being said, Chancellor Brewington, we have yet to talk about any NBA at all, which is crazy because Steph Curry once again last night, Easter Sunday, late that they were the nightcap between the 2-seed Rockets, 7-seed Warriors. Thunder looks scary after beating the Grizzlies in the last 9 meetings with an average of 18 points. They beat them in game 1 in the playoffs by 51. So if you're thinking maybe the playoffs are different, they are, but even in a worse way for the Grizzlies. I'll say this much, they're not making it out of that first round.
Yeah.
Steph Curry was unreal. Also, Jimmy Butler. I know Steph Curry was electric, but Jimmy Butler was good as well. 5 steals in that game. Shot the ball efficiently. Didn't take as many threes, but he was also 50% from the three-point line, I believe. So it's just a good game from those two superstars. I will say, though, Rockets really struggled offensively and just looked sloppy. You know, there's quite a few moments from both teams there that looked pretty sloppy. So I'll leave the floor to you. Only got time for one game. Which one you want?
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on Lakers T-Wolves. I think it's frustrating because you can't give the Timber playing in Minnesota is tough.
Yeah,
like I've seen the atmosphere. Like it's a. I mean, you've seen the Pat Bev clip where he's throwing his shirt around after a play-in or a wild card game.
Yeah.
Dirty. Yeah, like but it's like the environment of that place. It's like kind of like Cleveland. It's similar.
The Target Center. If anyone's been to the Target Center, especially during that chapter, dead. It was very bad in there. They were close to wanting to move the team. So you're absolutely right. They were very close for a while there. And I know I can't remember what the location was, but there was some serious talks about getting out of the Target Center and just moving to another city completely.
Yeah, I think the Lakers have an opportunity. I believe they play tomorrow night. So I think they play probably during the show tomorrow, but we'll have something to talk about on Thursday. But I think Lakers could steal one and then roll some momentum, but you can't let it go too low to T-Wolves. That's where it gets scary, and that's where you don't want Anthony Edwards to catch wind, because if he starts catching wind, then it's going to be a long series.
Well said. And before I let you go here, you do got Clippers. Nuggets also might be one of the best series. We didn't talk about that. Went to overtime. Yeah. Jokic triple-double, but it's 36-39. Nuggets are up. Who gets game 2?
Oh, I'll go Clips on that one. Just make it interesting.
I think it might be Clips too. This to me feels like a game 7 type of style. It might go 2 Nuggets and then back to LA and go 2 Clippers. I'm not going to be surprised either way here. But we do know one thing. The West playoffs, you definitely want to tune in for it. Seems like all those series are going to be down to the wire. Chancellor Brewington, appreciate it as always. We will talk again once tomorrow. The early break crew will talk to you guys 6 a.m. Appreciate you listening. Have a great rest of your Monday night.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown's Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular priced athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Brown's carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown's Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Spring has arrived, the temperatures are rising, and it's time to get your equipment ready for the season. Landmark Implement has high-quality used John Deere planters, sprayers, and tractors, priced to move and ready to work for you. Take advantage of unbeatable deals and flexible financing to upgrade your operation without stretching your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or browse our full inventory